Breaking news coming in, we're going to be shifting focus to that. All right, this is the news coming in from Australia, where a third temple has been vandalized in Australia with Hindu hate graffiti, allegedly by Khalistani supporters. Now remember, in this shocking incident, a third Hindu temple has been vandalized within 15 days with Hindu hate and pro-Khalistan graffiti. And this particular incident has taken place in Melbourne's Albert Park. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness Temple, also known as the Hare Krishna Temple, is a well-known center of the Bhakti Yoga movement in Melbourne. Now, remember, this follows two other attacks on temples that have been witnessed specifically in Australia over the last 2 weeks. On January 12th, the BAPS Swaminarayan Temple had been vandalized in Melbourne. What we saw during that incident was anti-India and anti-Hindu graffiti, which had been sprayed on the walls. Then on January 16th, that is when the second incident took place, where the historic Sri Shiva Vishnu Temple had been vandalized. Again, this is where you saw anti-India and anti-Hindu graffiti. We're being joined by Editor-in-Chief of the Australia Today, Mr. Jitarth J. Bhardwaj. Mr. Bhardwaj, thank you so much for speaking to CNN News 18. Could you first tell us about how these incidents are being seen in Australia?
Sure. There is a universal condemnation of these acts of hate towards Hindu community. I can tell you, political leaders, faith leaders, everyone is trying to tell us that this is not acceptable in this area, and this kind of hate has no place here. They are just short of calling it Khalistani attacks. However, police is working, trying to find out the culprits behind it. I have just talked to the police officer in the morning. She told me that there'll be a concrete action in wake of this third attempt by Khalistani supporters, allegedly by Khalistani supporters. Let's see what comes out of it. However, the Hindu community here in Australia, especially in Melbourne, is really scared of visiting these temples just because they don't know who will follow them. There have been incidents of people being followed. They are just talking to us and saying, we are scared that if we go to temple, somebody will follow us to our home and they can attack on our homes also, which is really a pathetic situation in terms of religious vilification of this peaceful Hindu community.
No, absolutely. And we did witness with the previous two incidents that the Australia High Commission had come out to condemn these incidents. But then when it comes to the accused, the people who had actually put out this anti-Hindu, anti-India graffiti on those previous two temples, and now we're seeing a third incident today, what action has been taken when it comes to those incidents? Why shouldn't the Hindu community be scared?
See, as far as police is concerned, they are still working on their investigation. That's what we are being told. But this third temple, the director of this temple, communication director of this temple, Bhakta Das, he is also chairperson of Victorian Multi-Faith Council. And it's very unfortunate that the temple he works for has been attacked. Few days back, I had a talk with him, and he told me because in light of the attacks on BAPS and Shiva Vishnu temple, they have enhanced security at their temple. They have put 2 extra CCTV cameras so that the culprit could be caught if possible. And this morning, they have provided those CCTV footage to police officers. Let's see what comes out if they are being able to catch these culprits. And let me tell you one more thing. This temple is situated in middle of the locality where really high-profile people live. So there are a number of houses around this temple which have CCTV footage. So police can't just say that they couldn't find out. If they really want to find out, I don't think it's impossible to catch these culprits.
All right, Mr. Bhardwaj, do stay with us. We also want to bring in CNN News 18's Foreign Affairs correspondent Abhishek Jha. Abhishek, tell us about the details that we have about this third incident that we've seen.
So this incident has come in the last 2 weeks. This is the third incident that has happened when a temple is defaced. There are posters and then there are graffiti written all over it regarding this Khalistan movement that We know that they are going to have their referendum on 29th of January this year. India has raised this issue both in Melbourne and in Delhi, and the diplomatic acknowledgement of this fact doesn't seem to deter those who are behind this. The issue has also been raised with the local police authority, but now, as our guest is also saying, probably the inaction by the local authority is involving those perpetrators who are behind this attack, because in the last two attacks that has happened, there has not been any arrest, probably, and that has led to this confidence among these perpetrators of Khalistani movement supporters that come what may, they can do whatever they want, but the law will not take any action against them. But now, as the security cameras have been installed, there could be a possibility that those people can now be identified, and we can hope that Australian authorities or the local police do take some action and get after them and arrest them, so that next incident is at least not going to happen, because if only some action is taken, then probably they will have some fear of law among them, and then probably this Khalistan movement will not continue unabated as it has happened in the last 2 weeks when 3 temples have been attacked by these movement sympathizers.
All right, Abhishek, do stay with us. Thank you so much for giving us that information. But we also want to cross back over to our guest, Mr. Jitharth J. Bharadwaj, who, again, is the editor-in-chief of the Australia Today. Mr. Bharadwaj, what I wanted to ask you is, considering that you were talking about statements that you've received about these incidents that have taken place in the past 2 weeks, and considering that there's now a third incident that's being witnessed in Australia, and racism is not something which is also new to Indians in that community, or in that country, actually. Has there been any statement from the Prime Minister about these particular incidents?
See, not even the Prime Minister, even the Premier of Victoria State, that Andrews has not issued any statement despite 3 attacks on Hindu temples. If it was some other community, may it be Islamic community or Jewish community or Buddhist community or Christian community, I wouldn't have seen this kind of silence from political leadership. However, this morning I received one statement from local federal MP of McNamara, where this ISKCON temple is situated. He has condemned this attack and has issued a written statement. Previously, on Friday last, there was an emergency meeting by Victorian Multicultural Commission of faith leaders in Victoria, where Christian, Buddhist, Islamic, Jewish, Hindu, and Sikh leaders were present. And they unanimously said that this kind of hate has no place in Australia. Despite this, just next day, this attack has happened on a Hindu temple. That clearly means that these people do not have any regard for any condemnation. Unless police authorities take really stern action against them, they are not going to stop. And a lot of Hindu communities